Okay guys, here it is. A lot of you guys that have been with the channel, you've heard me talking about this. This is probably one of the most underrated lures in bass fishing history, which is this Mega Bass Flap Slap, guys. The biggest limit of bass I ever caught in a tournament in my life was at Lake Guntersville in a Bassmaster Open, or excuse me, a Bassmaster Top 150 on the Flap Slap right here. I told Edwin Evers about it. He almost won the Bassmaster Classic on it on Lake Guntersville. It is a superior Riprap cranking bait. Flat-sided crankbait, it's quiet, looks just like a threadfin shad. I usually fish it like on 10-pound test, Seagarn Vizx fluorocarbon line, and it'll run sort of in that 4 to 5 foot zone on a long cast. So perfect depth for riprap fishing here. And they've got a lot of different colors, guys. I'll link my Flap Slap link and my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video if you guys would like to pick one up after you see this video. But they got a bunch of good shad colors, you know, everything you can want with that. Okay, here's how you want to fish shad, the Flap Slap. The Flap Slap, even though it is a crankbait, it's not what I call a deflecting crankbait, because most crankbaits, they work the best when they're hitting the bottom, or they're deflecting off a wood, or they're deflecting off a rock on the bottom. And usually on a crankbait, you want it to hit the bottom to generate the strike. Not so with the Flap Slap. Flap Slap is almost like a cross between a jerkbait and a crankbait. So this is one lure that you can reel above the bottom of the lake there. And I actually prefer that. I prefer fishing the Flap Slap just a foot or so off the bottom, which you can do that on riprap banks. So that's a little bit unique with that. And it's pretty simple. What I do is I parallel riprap bank with it, and depending upon the water clarity, most of the time, the best riprap fishing is gonna have visibility of the water is gonna be under 3 feet. If you gave me like a perfect scenario for the water clarity on riprap, I would say give me a minimum of about 10 inches of visibility and a maximum of about 2 foot of visibility. About 1.5 feet would be perfect to position those fish in that 2 to 5 foot zone that you can really target with the crankbait like the Flap Slap really good. So I'll get on those riprap banks. I'll make long parallel casts down the bank, try to target sort of that 3 to 5 foot zone. And one of the keys on the Flap Slap, guys, is how you work the bait. It's a little bit different than a regular crankbait. What you want to do is make your cast out there with it, and you don't just want to reel it in, just like a crankbait. What you want to do is you want to reel it like that, and then you want to sort of just twitch your rod tip a little bit once in a while and pull it like that. So here's how my cast looks. I'll throw it out there, I'll crank it down to the depth I want to get it at, and then I'll start twitching a little bit, and I'll pull it, and then start cranking it a little bit, twitch it